New studies are coming out that clarify the myth that cholesterol is bad. Understand we need cholesterol for the functioning of our cells and our brain. When we take these lowering cholesterol meds, what are they doing to the health of your cells and your brain by not giving it the cholesterol it needs? Join me in this podcast and let's shed some truth on cholesterol. Welcome to my podcast, Giving You a Fresh Start After Trauma. I'm Regina Sanchez, your host, and I'm so glad you're here. Starting over after trauma can be a blend of real pain and some hope, sadness and then some joy. It's a mixture of moments of faith and then moments of fear. There will be times when you'd rather not remember, but then times of excitement. You may fail along the way, but if you keep moving forward, your discouragement will turn to peace. Some days you may feel like giving up, and other days you're running in your race to victory. That, my friend, is a journey of having a fresh start after trauma. And if you are in any of these places and need some encouragement, you have stopped at the right place. Let's journey together to giving you a fresh start after trauma. Join me now to be revived, rejuvenated, and restored to a place of living free from your past emotional pain. Welcome, friends, today to my podcast, Giving You a Fresh Start After Trauma. I'm glad you're here joining me today because your health is extremely important in being healed and free from your past trauma. Remember, you are a whole person and we cannot just narrow our focus to one part of us. So let's get started. Well, for years, we have been told that we have bad cholesterol, LDL, good cholesterol, HDL, but that seems to have been a lie. Now, don't just believe what I say or what others say. It's important that we get educated ourselves and stop just taking the word of our doctors or even podcasters. Yes, these doctors may know more than we do, but that doesn't mean that they know it all or that we cannot educate ourselves. It behooves us to do our own research so that we can decide if we are being medically treated properly or just being put on a statin because it's a financial issue with the doctor and, of course, the pharmaceutical company. It does create a lifelong patient. Well, today, I want to share some things with you that a really great naturopathic doctor that I know, Dr. Ieda, he wrote a book that I believe is worth a read because he educates us on the truth about cholesterol. It is not that villain we were made out to believe. Education is power, friends. And when we educate ourselves, we will then have the tools to understand what is happening to our body and know if we are being treated correctly by our doctor. Now below, there will be a link that you can click onto to find his book. His ebook will take you right to his website and you can download his ebook. Before I get into what he said, and I'm not going to recap everything he has said. I am going to recap a couple of things. But before I go there, I want to share a personal story with you. Shortly after my divorce and the selling of my home in 2007, I had not yet found a new home for my children and I to live in. Hence, we ended up moving into the Marriott Residence Inn. It was lovely. It was actually lovely. The staff was lovely, and we became friends with a lot of the other guests there. Sadly, though, I couldn't really enjoy this stay at the time to just relax because I had to find a place to live. And that was where 100% of my focus was. So to say the least, I was stressful. It was such a stressful time for me as I would wake up in the middle of the night crying, thinking, what have I done to my children? We have nowhere to live. Erroneously, I thought, okay, we're going to be here for about 30 days. Well, 30 days came and went, and then another 30 days. My stress level was high. as our stay ended up being 90 days. Now, prior to the move into the Marriott, I had an appointment with my internal medicine doctor for a yearly physical. And along with that appointment, I had, your typical blood work done. Well, my total cholesterol, I think, was about 235, and it concerned her. Well, I point blank said to her, "Don't even talk to me about a statin. I will never go on it." I didn't even know then what I know now, but I trust my gut, and it was always saying to me, "Stay away." So she replied, "Okay, well, watch your diet." Now, I ate really well, but living in the hotel and being gone most days, looking at homes, made it hard to cook good meals. It was a residence inn, so there was like a little kitchen to cook in, but it was hard. And so the hotel had these light dinners, they called it. And as a convenience, we ate there most nights in the dining room. It was nice to socialize with the other residents and the other guests. And, the food was not horrible, but it really wasn't great. It was not food I would normally have eaten, but I made do for this time. Well, I'm telling you this to just say I did not change my diet per the instructions of my doctor. Well, finally, after 90 days of living in the hotel, we moved into our new home, the home we're in right now. About 2 weeks after we moved in, I had a follow-up appointment with her because she wanted to check my cholesterol after like 90 days. Well, lo and behold, it was normal to her. So she said to me, "Good job changing your diet." Well, I said to her, frankly, I did nothing to change my diet. And I asked her if my high cholesterol, which I did not believe was high, had anything to do with stress. She said, "Absolutely not." Well, needless to say, I did not continue with her as my physician because she had no answers for the change. So now let me take you to Dr. Ayeda and his writings. Now, one of the statements he has made is that despite what your doctor may have told you, all cholesterol is the same. LDL and HDL. There is no good or bad cholesterol. So I'm just going to read to you what he sent to me actually in an email. And I just felt I needed to share this because I feel like it was very important. So this is what Dr. Ayeda said, and this is what can be found in his ebook. Most of you are probably familiar with the terms LDL and HDL cholesterol. You have probably been told by your physician or some other health professional that LDL cholesterol is bad and that HDL is good. Today, I'm going to explain why all cholesterol is exactly the same and there's no such thing as bad or good cholesterol. First of all, though, it's important to realize that HDL and LDL are not actual cholesterol at all, but merely the protein transport mechanism for cholesterol. He goes on to say, when I'm explaining this process to patients, I like to use the analogy that LDL is like a bus with a lot of people on it. The people represent the actual cholesterol, and the bus represents the protein transporter. The HDL is like a bus with just a few people on it. So let's discuss LDL first. LDL takes cholesterol away from the liver, out to the tissues and other organs to be used for various purposes, including the manufacturing of important steroid hormones such as estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, cortisol, vitamin D, which is actually not a vitamin but a hormone, and several others. Just like a bus leaving the bus station, the liver, and dropping them off at various spots around the town. LDL also serves as a transport mechanism for critical fat-soluble nutrients, including vitamin D and antioxidants, as well as certain fats. Now, HDL simply returns any excess or used cholesterol back to the liver to be recycled. just like a bus picking up people from their destination and bringing them back to the bus station. Well, there is a third transport mechanism that I'd like to discuss, which is called the VLDL. Think of this as a double-decker bus with a lot of people on it. But on the first level, we have very large people, which represents a different type of fat called a triglyceride. And on the top level of this bus, we have our regular cholesterol, just like on the LDL bus. Triglycerides are fats that are produced from excess glucose that we take in from our diet, from sugars and carbohydrates. When we eat more sugar and carbs than our body can burn, it's considered excess to the liver. So the liver converts the glucose over to triglycerides that are transported in that VLDL molecule out to our tissues to be either burned as fuel or put into our fat cells for storage. The more excess sugar and carbs you ingest, the more VLDL particles are produced to carry more triglycerides out to storage. The problem with too many triglycerides being formed is that they take up a lot of room on the bus. So the liver starts making more and more smaller and denser LDL particles to carry the cholesterol that doesn't fit in the double-decker bus. Now, this is where the trouble lies. These smaller and denser LDL particles, little short buses, become the major problem when it comes to cardiovascular health. Within the arterial endothelium lies space between the cells that serve as channels for the influx and outflux of nutrients. These small, dense LDL particles can actually lodge themselves in the spaces between these vascular arterial cells and shut off those normal channels, resulting in poor nutrient flow to the endothelium and triggering a damaging inflammatory response. That's the problem, is the small LDL particles. If antioxidants are now unable to get into the cell to protect the cholesterol from damage due to free radicals that form during the inflammation process, then that cholesterol goes from being a great healing and structure forming agents to useless trash that is now being deposited into the artery wall. And that's where the buildup comes. Not only do the LDL particles become very small and dense, but so do the HDL particles. With small HDL particles, there is now less room on the bus to pick up any used or excess cholesterol to be brought back to the liver for recycling. So take home this message here that it's less about the quantity of cholesterol in the blood and more about the quality, the oxidized and damaged, and the size of the transport proteins, large and buoyant versus small and dense, which are the only lipoproteins of significant consequence. Drug companies would rather you didn't know this at all, as statin drugs do absolutely nothing to change the size of the LDL or HDL particles. Only your diet can do this. And that diet is one rich in natural fats, moderate in protein, and low in carbohydrates. And for more information on what I just said to you, and I know it could be a mouthful, and sometimes I know reading it is more helpful. It penetrates me better than hearing it. You can get that link below to get his ebook. And I think it's just, maybe it's $15 or something, $14.99. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it is well worth your time to get his book and read about cholesterol, especially if you are on statins go and read the side effects of what these drugs can do to you. So are you ready to make some lifestyle changes, but you need some guidance? Well, consider my study guide, Your Journey to Wholeness, or my coaching programs. I am here to help you. My heart and my desire is to help you be healthy and able to enjoy your life to the fullness. There's nothing worse than dealing with health issues. So friends, thanks for taking the time to listen to this message. Be blessed, be encouraged. Share it with anyone that you know that may need to hear it. And have a beautiful, blessed day. Thanks for listening. God bless. Thank you, my friends, for taking the time to listen to my podcast. I hope you found it uplifting and encouraging, and that it guides you to having peace, love, joy, and health in your life. If you would like more information on my coaching programs, then go to my website, reginasanchez.com, where you can see the services I offer to give you a fresh start after trauma. You can also find my book, Can I Have Your Heart, Daddy, on Amazon. It is my personal journey back to the heart of my Heavenly Father. Be blessed, be encouraged, and know that you are loved.